Let's see. All right. So I just want to welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am really excited for 2018. This 2017 has, involved a lot for many people. And now we are just a few days shy of closing it out. And my goal for 2017 is to really have us all think about what have we done this year? How well has it served us? And did we really achieve the things we set out to achieve this year? Because if we didn't, we want to make sure that we create something new for 2018. And that's what today's talk is all about. It's how to stay motivated and basically how to recover quickly after we've gotten off track. Because one thing I know is diabetes is a long process. And even though my goal for everybody is to reverse their diabetes, it's going to probably take a while before we get from where we are to where we want to be. So my whole process is about how to take you baby steps to build up your muscles and build up your strength, build up your stamina so that you will be strong enough to endure and keep pushing. Even when you fall down, you recognize that you have fallen, you do the things we need to do to come out of that hole and get back on track quicker. So I'll go ahead and introduce myself for the benefit of people who are not familiar, but were invited here. I'm Carmela Bell. I am the owner of a Diabetic Type Life Coaching and Consulting. I'm your diabetes strategist and success coach. I'm the best-selling author of the book Push Through, 7 Steps to Help You Push Through Diabetes Overwhelm. I also am a mother of a son who lives with type 1 diabetes daily. And type 1 diabetes, any kind of diabetes, doesn't just affect the person, it affects the family and everybody who loves them. So I am kind of coming at this from all angles. But today I want to talk to you all about how to stay motivated and recover quickly after getting off track from your diabetes routine. And basically this week I took a survey. I went to my group and asked everybody what would be the most helpful thing you could learn about this week about your diabetes. And these were the top 2 things everybody voted for. So here it is. So as I was thinking about this, I kind of just I have some notes here that I'll probably be looking at. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing. I just want to make sure I don't miss any good pieces. But I just want you to know that my main goal has always been to blow the whistle on diabetes. Ever since I really came into understanding what it was, I needed everybody to know that with type 2, you do not have to live with or die from diabetes, for one. For years, my aunt had diabetes. She had type 2, over 25 years. I had no clue what it was. I was a kid. Then as I grew up and my son got diagnosed, I still thought, well, they trained us great. They taught us so much stuff. I should have an emblem that says junior endocrinologist on my shirt. And so I assumed that all type 2 people were given the same information as type 1. But what I found out is this was not true. That my aunt and a lot of people like her didn't know all the tips and tricks that I knew. Nobody taught them how to track your blood sugars and then analyze them to see what's working and what's not working, how to make tweaks and where to make changes and all this stuff. Nobody really told her any of that. She didn't know how to read labels. She didn't know how to really count carbs. She didn't know how to do any of that. And if you want to succeed in lowering your A1C, those are tools you must have, because measuring keeps you honest. It helps you to see how much this one little portion is as opposed to the gigantic size of pasta that we put on our plates. And it's just a part of the process, but nobody taught her. So my whole mission for being here is to help you. If you truly want to succeed, if you're tired of being on this hamster wheel of doing good, not good, doing good, not good, A1C up, A1C a little bit down. If you really want to get it down, then we got to get real about a few things so you can succeed. So in 2012, my son went from being a healthy child, never having any major issues other than, allergies, to all of a sudden, oh, your son has type 1 diabetes. It changed our lives forever and always, because he has to test at least maybe 6 times a day. He has to give shots for everything, pretty much everything he eats. We have to count carbs, do division, all kinds of stuff. Man, I can't tell you, I'm happy he finally made it to 5th grade, because now he can divide. And it's like, yay. He can actually decide what he wants to eat. Okay, mommy, it's this many carbs, and I divide by 5, and I want this and I want that. He is in control of his process. And that's what I want, for everyone else. He's 11 years old, but there's so many people who are many years older than him that can't do half the stuff he can do. And the fact that once he got diagnosed, we did everything here in our home for him. But once we left that front door, I had to reteach the daycare worker. I had to reteach his teacher. I had to reteach the nurse. Yeah, the nurse. You would think the school nurse should know about diabetes, but I quickly learned all nurses aren't created equal. If she specialized in neonatal, she may not know anything about diabetes, but I didn't know that. So I'm talking to her thinking she knows stuff. She's shaking her head saying, yeah, and then stuff started going wrong. And I'm like, wait a minute, I had to teach her, have to teach the teachers. Every single year I have to teach new people. So what I decided is, if I got to teach all these people, I definitely want to teach you, because I want you to succeed. So right now we're going to go ahead and get started on the first step that we're going to take to stay motivated so we can rebound quickly when we get off track. What does getting off track look like for you? Earlier, before you all came in, I was talking to Calandra, and she was explaining, just like many of us, that she's a little bit off track, but she wants to get back on track. And, how do we do that? Because what has amazed me is dealing with my son. I went through a process. I don't really consider it a depression, but I do consider myself being in the black hole, the diabetes abyss. And I was down there for a while because, we worked really hard. Okay, check his blood, stay up all night, never get sleep. My son was 6 years old. We had been long removed from an infant, but our lives felt like we still had one, because I never slept. I'm up all night testing blood, giving shots. And after doing all these things, they're like, oh, yeah, you did great. His A1C is at 6.7. That is awesome. Keep up the good work. And I'm like, what? Wait a minute. Hold up. That was hard. Do y'all know how much I just did? You mean I'm never going to get sleep again ever? Well, you can work on the sleep thing. But, yeah, keep doing what you're doing. So I just want you to know that I know firsthand how tiring just keeping up with this entire process is. It is not easy, but our friends and our families often like to tell us, you should be doing this, and you shouldn't be eating that, and shouldn't you do that, and the should crew has a lot to say about what you should be doing, but they don't really know what your life is like. They don't know what you feel like in the morning when you wake up and your blood sugar is elevated. They don't know how you got to drag yourself through that day and still smile at those people at work while they're pointing their fingers telling you what to do. So I just want you to know that I get it. I personally don't have diabetes, but I live with my son, and I help my aunt. She was a long-term diabetic who felt like, her biggest deal for me was, why should I change what I want to eat, do all these things this doctor wants me to do when I'm going to die anyway? I could not believe those were her words. Like, as you could probably see, and if you've been following my page, I'm not at a loss for words, probably ever. She took every word I had. I was like, well, dang. She makes a good point, because she was older and she had a lot of other things going on besides diabetes. And so she was like, why should I do this? Why should I do this? I hear, yeah, they're telling me test blood, eat right, but why should I give up my orange soda and all my cakes and sweets? Well, I'm going to die anyway. I may as well enjoy life now. But the thing about it is, we don't know when our last day is. And the other half about it is, what do you want your quality of life to be while you're here? And because you may not die immediately, diabetes is a slow killer for most people. Most people have it for years before the really bad stuff hits them. But all those years is degrading your body. So you just don't want to take it lightly. What I had to tell her is, we don't know when your last day is, but I want you to be here for as long as you can be. And if you want me to help you get things on track so that at least diabetes is not the thing you're worried about, you're not going back into the hospital because of that, then we can do it. And we did. And one of the first things we did was figure out what we were going to do to motivate her. So when we think about motivation, the first thing that comes to mind is acceptance. I need you to really think about these questions that I'm about to ask you, because they are the cornerstones of your motivation and your rebound. The first question, and I don't know if you have any pen and paper, if you came to work today, write them down. But the first question is, how much are you willing to pay to avoid your condition? How much are you willing to pay to avoid your diabetes? Because the deal here is, if I don't work on acceptance, and acceptance is more than just knowing that I have diabetes, if I don't work on accepting my diagnosis, then there are steep consequences. And so that leads us to the second question. What are the consequences of avoiding your condition? And then that's going to take us to, are they worth it? So these are the three questions that are the cornerstone. Anytime you find yourself in that black hole of, I know I should be, I know I shouldn't be, I don't feel like it, I don't have time, you need to go back into these three questions. And I would only ask you to actually write them out. Write out your full answer. Don't give bullets. Write out as much as you can so that you will have this to reference the next time you hit that moment. How much are you willing to pay to avoid your condition? Is it worth your limbs? Is it worth eye problems and losing your eyesight, which is one of the leading consequences from diabetes? Is it worth being on dialysis and having to go through that pain all the time? Is it worth amputations? Is it truly worth that? Because just eating that cookie and the cake and never testing blood and never taking your meds, that's what we're priming ourselves for, is the eventual issue. So how much are you willing to pay to avoid the condition? What are the consequences of avoiding? And are they worth it? Okay. So like I said before, acceptance does not mean that you'll ever enjoy diabetes. Although there are some people who say getting this diabetes diagnosis was the best thing that could have happened to them because it made them get healthier. It made them have a reason to start doing the things they knew they should have been doing all along. But it's not the case for most people. So I want you to really think about accepting the diagnosis means being truly committed to doing everything you need to do to stay well. That's simply what acceptance is. Like, I knew that my son had diabetes. We gave his shots. We tested his blood sugar. But there was still some stuff I just wasn't doing as well as I should have been. And it was starting to make a difference in his numbers. But I hadn't really connected that I wasn't fully accepting at that time. So the second thing that we need to do to make sure we can stay motivated is to work through denial. According to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, denial is the refusal to satisfy a request or desires. So when we refuse to do the things we know we should be doing, it brings nothing but bad things for us, nothing but bad consequences. So in order to stay motivated, we must work through denial. And notice I didn't say avoid it. Avoiding denial doesn't really work. We must work through it. When you work through it, you put all your cards on the table, all your truths, all the lies, and you just analyze them. There's no judgment, but you have to ask yourself, okay, what are the reasons I'm not doing the things I should be doing? Honestly, what are all of my reasons? You make your list of all your reasons. This is number 2, working through denial. Make a list of all your reasons you're not doing things you should be doing. And then once you've created that list, I want you to break it into 2 columns. You got the stuff that's the truth, and then we got stuff that might be excuses or lies. Okay? So I know that might not be easy to make, but if you do it, you're going to be stronger for it. This is what we call building that muscle. Building that muscle. Once we acknowledge it and we can look at it, man, that's everything. So I will tell you this. For example, I used to get off track, working out, not working out. I lose some weight, look cute, and be like, oh, I'm good. I can eat a cookie. No, you cannot. You need to keep going. But I would get off track. And so I'd be like, okay, well, I'm going to start going back to the gym. I would go to the gym and I would instantly do 30, 40 minutes at the gym that first day back. What do you think happened? I was so sore that next day, I could barely roll out of that bed. I'm trying to put this ponytail up, crying, tears. My arms hurt, everything hurt. It takes 2 days for me to at least get back to half of feeling normal. So, do you think on that third and fourth day I was in the gym? I did not go back. I did not go back. Did I set myself up for success or for failure? For failure. How many times did I do that? So many times. I finally got to the point where I learned, okay, crazy lady, if you really want to succeed at this, I know you feel good, because that's the whole deal. I would be like, I would be excited. I'd be motivated. I know you feel good and you want to just run out the gates, but stop. Take that motivation, you know, calm down, and then you get out there and you walk 10 minutes a day. That's all I want you to do. Walk 10 minutes a day. The first thing that's going to happen, you're going to get out there and do 10 minutes and be like, oh man, that wasn't nothing. I could do that. Okay, well, tomorrow I'll do it again. Don't push it up to 15. Don't push it up to 20. Just do 1 week of 10 minutes a day. And what that's going to do is, one, you're priming the body. The body is like, oh, okay, we're creating a new habit. I'm feeling good. I can walk with this. I can roll with this. But after that week, you're stronger. So now when you do decide to push it to 15 or 20, which I would probably still just push it to 15. We don't want to take it too fast. Do now 15. Now it's building up your confidence because you feel better. You're probably walking those minutes fast, that mile faster. Your muscles are not as tense and tight and sore. And you're creating the habit. You physically cut out time in your day to make that 10 or 15 minutes happen. So now you're used to doing it. So I slowly started with 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and push my way up over time. Now, to most fitness instructors and health professionals, they'll tell you that's not going to get you anywhere. That's not going to work for you. But that's why people keep failing, because we keep trying to do too much too soon. And if we're coming from a place of not having worked out like at all to trying to be, some fitness trophy winner, we got to go slow. We just do. So I want you to take your time and just be real. But I had to get through my denial. My denial was, oh, I can't go because of work, and oh, my time schedule, and I can't afford to pay for the gym, and I can't, and I can't, and I can't, and I can't, and I can't. But the truth was, I could find 10 minutes in my day to walk. So that's what working through denial looks like. It's challenging yourself and your own fancy excuses, on what's real and what's not. Stuff that is real is you really may not have money to pay for a gym membership, but that doesn't mean we can't work out. There's so much free stuff on YouTube. It's ridiculous. And they have every level from like just sit and be fit, sit in this chair, 1, 2. So, oh, I have hip problems. There's an excuse. This is an excuse. It's not the truth. You can sit there, get that upper body ready. You can do some lower body stuff. There's something for everybody. So the truth was, I might not be able to afford that membership, but that didn't mean I couldn't exercise. And that's just my story. Y'all can type in the chat box if you want and tell me kind of what your story was. So you've got to work your way through denial. And that's what working your way looks like. So after we've accepted what our situation is and we know what the cost is for avoiding diabetes, then we work our way through denial. Step 3 is to create your action plan. This plan should be a list of all the things you should be doing and we'll commit to trying at some point. We'll put dates on things later, but right now we want to have the list of things that we know that you could do. So for instance, could I, like we said before, some plans will look different because everybody's at a different stage. So let's take a person who's had diabetes for a while and, they're a little bit over it. Man, I've done well. I've done worse. I just couldn't care less. So they're totally disengaged. They're not doing pretty much anything. What could their list look like? They probably need to start testing their blood sugar regularly. They probably need to be setting mechanisms in place to make sure that they actually take their meds or insulin before they go to work or before they eat or before bed, whatever the regimen is their doctor gave them. They might need to actually set up that 5 minutes a day of walking because they haven't been doing much. So, that's what their list could look like. But let's say that you've been doing pretty good, that when your doctor gave you the diagnosis, you kicked the door in, you changed your eating habits, you got out there and you hit the track, you start drinking nasty shakes just because you know it was good for you. You tried. So for this person, I'm not telling you anything new. You know you need to eat well. You know all these things, and you know because you've already done it. But the thing is, you're not there right now. So what would your list look like? Okay, so I know the things that are healthy that I really enjoy eating. Let me write that list. What did I really like when I was doing well? And what kind of motivated? What did I look forward to eating when I was doing well? Create that list. Okay, now what are the things that I know when I put this in my mouth, the red sound is going off because I am off the beaten path. Make a list of those red flag things. And so that when you start going down that hole, you'll be like, oh, wait a minute, I'm eating M&Ms. I know M&Ms are the trigger. I can't do that. Or I'm eating cookies, or I got my favorite pound cake. Make a list of those things so that when you start eating them, sometimes we're not really thinking about all these things. When you start eating them, it'll trigger in your mind, ooh, you know what? I might be worse off than I'm thinking right now, because when I get to this point, when I start eating this cake, I'm pretty much going to probably keep eating it. And then that's going to lead to some more stuff and some more stuff and some more stuff. And I won't keep on rolling down that big old hill, because I've been down that hill so many times. It's ridiculous. That's why I can tell you, because I know. And so you write that list. So you write the things that you enjoyed looking forward to that were healthy, the things that you know you love that will undermine you every step of the way. And you keep them. So when you find yourself not so strong, look at your list and then look at your reasons. Are these consequences worth my cake? Okay, no, the consequences are not worth my cake, but I still want some cake. So then what's the plan? What's the action plan? I want cake, so I'm going to eat this cake for lunch. I'm going to eat just vegetables and protein at lunch. So this cake will be my carb. And then I'm going to make sure I do my 10-minute walk, between at my break and maybe getting home. Maybe I'll park further today, so I have to get my steps in to get to my car. There's your success plan right there. You ate it, you minimized your lunch carbs, and you burned it off on the way to the car. Done. And now you don't have to feel deprived because you didn't get your cake. And now hope is that it won't take you into the spiral of wanting it 24 times. We'll talk about that on another day. But this is just a simple plan. So this is what you want to do, is create your action plan. In order to create the action plan, we got to be clear about what's truth and what's not, what works for us and what doesn't. So those other two steps are really important. And so then to take us to step 4, which is our last one on how to rebound, all of those things are part of the rebound. So when we get to rebound, and in order to rebound quickly, we must do all 3 steps plus this one. Be patient. Patience is so much a part of this process. It seems like we shouldn't even really spend any time talking about it at all, but it's important. It's important to be patient because it's going to take time to build new habits. You're going to slide back down and have to climb back up. You're going to take 2 steps back and take 5 forward, and then 7 steps back and then 2 forward. It's a process. What we have to continue to do during that process is acknowledge what we did well. What am I doing well? I have been minimizing my carbs when I have my treat. Awesome. I wasn't doing that before. It matters. Sometimes we come up in backgrounds where people don't praise us enough. And we're not used to praising ourselves. And it seems like, oh, everything is everything. It's no big deal. I'm a grown up. I don't need praise. I don't need to reward myself for everything I did well. But it's a lie. You do, because you did some good work. You did not have to make that choice, but you did. And because you did, you deserve to pat yourself on the back and say, good job, girl. We are on our way. And so when you do falter, then that's where you come back to that denial. Okay, what worked and what didn't work? Even though I did minimize my portion on the carbs for lunch, today I ate a slightly bigger sized piece of cake. And my blood sugar is showing it, because now my blood sugar is elevated a couple hours later. So now I see that even if I do eat my cake, that big piece was still just a little too much. So these are the things that we have to do. Maybe tomorrow you eat a small piece of cake on your break. Break that stuff up. We can do a lot of things. We just can't do all things at one time. So patience is just really important. We have got to learn how to pace ourselves, because one of the reasons that we often don't, make it as far with our goals as we want to is because we take that big chunk. Like when I just jumped out and went to the gym and did 30, 40 minutes and I died for a couple of days, that wasn't a good plan. It wasn't a good plan. I needed to build slowly. Each time I've come back to my workout regimen and I've built up slowly, I've gotten further every single time. So I just want you all to be clear that once we've accepted our situation, when we truth ourselves, we've worked through our denial and we've created our action plan. Be patient and give yourself time to implement, to reflect, and to tweak what's working and what's not. Um, and so, oh, I'm sorry, just one second. Okay, so our meeting is about to come to an end, but I just wanted to give you all the 4 tips that you need to really stay motivated and to help you rebound quickly. If you want to take this conversation further so we can create a plan for you, go to bit.ly/call with Carmela so we can schedule a free call with you and get you and so we can decide what the next step is for you so you can succeed in 2018. There's no charge for the call. I am also setting aside 10 to 15, no, yeah, about 15 slots for people to do individual coaching with me so that we can hone in on what's not working, create a plan for success so you can kick diabetes to the curb. That's what I want for you. If you have any questions, feel free to message me in Facebook, email me at Carmela@adiabetictypelife. But until then, I want you to be well, and I want you to stay motivated, and I want you to rebound quickly. All right. So you all have a great day, and thanks for joining. Bye. Thanks for coming, Kalandra.